And we're back. We are COMP123 in the summer 2017 semester, and we are week 13, part 4 of our broadcast. We're talking about calculator functionality, more calculator functionality, right? And some of you may have thought when we first started this off that why is he spending so much time doing the simple calculator? It's so easy. Is it easy? It can be hard is the answer. You can make it easier with regular expressions. We could have used regular expressions to make it easier. We could have used the ability for us to actually search for the whole text and do a whole calculation together. There's many ways to do this thing. I'm doing it the hard way, like I said, only because I want to show you different things and how to use your form on the front end to calculate stuff on the back end. And also, you know what? Typically, I would have like 2 or 3 more classes of UI with you, right? And you're going to get more of that in Programming 3. So now we have a bit of a problem, and this is the last thing I want to cover with you before I let you do your lab. So if we look at the calculator that we have right now, all right, I'm just going to go down to what we've done. We've done the equal sign. We're going to show the results in the operand, right? And we're getting the calculate method done, right? So here's my calculate. But the way the calculator works is not how our calculator works yet. Okay, so what we're doing is we're doing this, right? So if I clear, if I go 1 plus 3, and then I click plus again, it gives me the result here, and then I can do the next one, right? Like plus 2 equals 2, and then I get 6, right? Also, do you ever try this in your calculator? This is a Windows calculator, right? So if I go 1 plus equals, it's 2. That happens, right? In calculations, you can do that. And here's another one, 8 plus equals, right? That is actually another function. I haven't talked about that, right? That's another option. And like I'm saying, you might think it's a calculator is easy, but there's a lot of little functionality built into the calculator that we have to handle. So how do we handle this case where we want to do multiple operations? Well, we know that here we say, well, if my operator list.count is greater than 1, we already have 2, then do the operation, okay? We do the operation, okay? But what if, now that we've done the operation, we come back here again, right? We added the operand in first to the list, and now my operand count is 3. So that can happen, right? If I go 1 plus, hit the 1 again, right? And then I hit plus again, right? I'm going to come in here the second time. So I come in here twice as it is. Look, here's where I come in twice. So here's how it works, right? I hit the 1. I hit plus. I come into my calculate, all right? And I come in here. And then I take the calculate. This doesn't make any sense. I take the operand, add it into the operand list. I skip this part because my operand list count is only 1. Right? And then I make my current operator put that up there, right? Okay, now I come back to this again. I come back again, right? I put 1. So 1 plus 1, and then I hit plus instead of equals, okay? So now I come back, and I go operand. Well, that's 1. But my operand count is greater than 1, so I do my operation, right? And then I save my last operator string as a plus. But I don't do anything else. I have a second operand right now. There's 2 operands in there. I've done my calculation, right, for my first 2, right? And now I have a problem. I'm not saving, right? I'm not saving my operand anywhere at all anymore, right? So this is not correct, right, for multiple operations. What I should be doing is this, right? I should say not just do this with my plus and minus, right? But also clear the list and set my 0th operand to the new result. That's what I should do. Let's try this out. So what I mean to do is this. Once I've done my operation, right, clear the list. So this dot operand list, right? I want to clear it because I've already done my calculations, right? Operand list dot clear. And then I want to take my new list, my new operand. So I want to say, and then I want to add it back in, right? So I want to say something like this. Oops. This dot operand list dot add the result. How would I do that? Think about what I just did. I'm storing the result back into the list. So I'm going to take these two actions, right? And I want to do that for every case. So if I do it here or whatever, I want to keep doing that, right? Because I'm doing it for each case, right? Then I wouldn't do it here. I would do it here, right? Only if my operand list count is greater than 1. I want to reduce it. Once I've got 2, I want to reduce them back to 1 and put the result back in the operand list. Okay? Because if I don't do that, it's going to lose 1. You're going to lose 1 out. I can keep going 1 plus 1 plus 1. It's only going to take the last 2. And then I won't care about the other ones. Right? So let's do this piece down here. Right? Because for every case, it's going to do this part. Doesn't matter whether there's a plus, minus, multiply, divide. It's going to do that. You guys have to figure out the other two, multiply and divide. Remember that divide by 0, you're going to have to kind of display the error somehow and stop everything. You have to stop the calculator from doing any further calculations, right? Okay, let's try this out. Let's see what result that does. Still won't fix the problem. Okay, but this is the first part of it. All right, let's try this out again. So 1 plus, we'll soon use another number other than 1, just see it, 2 plus, right? Uh-oh, we're not seeing the result of my plus when I did this, right? Okay, 3 equals to 6. Well, the result was shown, but I never showed the intermediate step. So that worked. Let's try a longer set of sub numbers, okay? So I want to go 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Let's see if we can go that far, right? So 1 and 2 would be 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. And 4 is 10. So we should have 10. Let's try this out. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Right? That works. We're pretty good, eh? Let's clear that and let's do the other way backwards. We'll go backwards in time. So 9, we'll start at 9 or 10. Sorry, 10. And we'll minus 4, right? Minus, is it 3? 3. And then minus 2 is equal to 1. So it works positive and negative all the way down the chain. Okay? That handles mostly everything. I'm saying mostly everything because here's what it's not going to handle. What if I have a very large number? And by the way, for your lab, you don't need to do this. But what if I have a very large number? And what if I add another very large number? Uh-oh. That's a problem too. Look at my second operand, what's happening. That ain't right. Doesn't matter, I get one of these, right? What does this mean? I want e plus 20, right? Something short-circuited is what it means. It means it went beyond my natural numbers that I can handle, and it's overflowed into the next column, right? That's what it means. But that's another problem we just found out. Look at that. Look at the debugging we just did. We said, look, 45 plus 9, 9. I can't do 99. I can only do 1 9. Why? Because what I did before. 45 and 9 is 54. That's cool. But the problem is in this thing right here, operator list count that is greater than 1. We're only saying that it's equal, right? We're not saying that it's plus equal. Plus equals only when the operand list is lower. So how do we do that? How can we look at the second operand, right? And this didn't fix the problem. It's still a bug in our code, right? The second operand, we want to fix it so that we can have a larger operand, like 55 plus 55. How do I do that here, right? So the operand list count is greater than 0. We want to replace what we have, right? But we want to do this a little bit more interestingly. We want to almost like go back for only the first time we want to do replace. So if it's the first time, the first click we made, right? The first letter, the first digit we put in, we want to replace. But if it's the second one, right? If it's the second one, we don't want to do this, right? So how do we do that? The second time we've clicked this thing in a row, right? It's only for the first time we picked it again. All right. Well, there's a couple ways to do this. We could say that right now we're checking for the operand list.count is greater than 0. So we know that, right? We could check that. But what if it's not that we're checking, actually? We're checking to see that it's the operand list.count is greater than 0, plus we've actually started typing inside that thing a couple times. Could you think of another way to put it in here to fix that problem? Anybody? Think about it. So like if 1 plus my operand now is greater than 0. I know you guys are knocking your head to do this little simple calculator. We're almost there, right? And then I go 1, and I want to type something else, some other letter. Now, what other way could we check to see that we need to not plus equal, right, the second operand? I want to clear the first one and replace it with the new one that I've got in there, because that's what this does, right? Look, so if I do this, this is our reference, right? So if I go 1 plus 2, it replaces the 1 with a 2, right? That's what it does there. It replaces the 1 with the 2. So what am I really doing? I'm almost like I'm clearing the result text box, right? When I put in the second thing in there for the first time and replacing it by something else, right? And that's going to happen right in here. But when I hit it again the second time, I don't want to do this. I want to come here again. I want to come to this, right? So there's actually 3 cases. 1 where I'm typing in the first number a bunch of times, right? 1 where I have my operand list is greater than 1 for the first time. 1 where my operand list is greater than count, right? 0, right? And I want to add more numbers, right? But really, this is the same as the other thing. I want to be able to get to this somehow without changing this part. So my operand list.count is greater than 0 and something else. Huh? Well, it's got to be this plus what? Okay. So that you're saying check the result text box.text. The length of that result text box.text has got to be greater than 0. But wait, it's always going to be greater than 0. That's always going to pass because I'm going to have a number in there from before. So it's got to be greater than 1. But it's never going to be greater than 1. It's only going to happen the first time. So that might be okay. Let's try this out. I'm going to use your logic. All right. And the result text box.text, right, dot length, okay, you can chain that, right, is greater than 1. The length is greater than 1. So the string length is greater than 1 is what I'm saying. String length is 0. String length, right, string length is greater than 1. So it's got to be 2 or higher. Okay, let's see if that fixes it or causes other problems. I like your thinking, though. Well, let's see if that's if that fixes the problem. And if we do, we have to refactor again. All right, so then we're saying, okay, so 7 plus 8.
Like in the if you do that.
I did that.
No. Like not double n.
Okay.
1, it goes inside the if, then there should be 1 inside.
Inside here?
Yeah.
All right. And then another if else? Okay. Yeah, but then what if it's not true? Then you're not going to get anything in there. Here. Let me talk. Let me show you. So the operand list.count's got to be the first one for sure, right? All right. So this is true, right? Then you're going to go in here. Okay. Now let's do this one. You're saying inside here. Oops. You want to get this idea, right? And you want to put it in here.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. We'll do that. I like your thinking. Like I said, we're not quite done yet. Okay, so here's this part. I want to take this part and put it in there. Else, you're going to say, right? What did I do wrong here? Oh, yeah, the if. That'd be nice. And now you want to say else, right? And something else. Else what? Else if it's not greater than 1?
It's greater than 1 means what, right?
So it's less than 1, less than 2.
No, I'm thinking like
the count is greater than.
After we click plus, like any operator, then we click 2. Just suppose we click 2.
Hold on. So if the result text box dot text length is greater than 1, right? This one is if it's 1, right? If it's 1, it goes here. It adds this one. But if it's greater than 1, if we press another one, press it again, right? And we want to increase the length. So this, it goes here, and now we want to see the length. We're actually checking the length. This won't work because we're checking the length. This is always going to pass, right? Because the length is always going to be 1 greater than 1, right? Well, let's check this out. So what you want to do is this. That's what you're thinking. If it's greater than 1, do this. I'll do this, right? Let's see if that works. The Morgan's law again. Right, let's go back, right? Trying to simplify. And this is, by the way, this is not the right thing, but let's just try it. See if yours works anyway. So 4 plus 42, it replaced, right? Nicely, right? Because here's why I did that. Okay, so my operand list.count is greater than 0. That's true, right? So we're in the second half. We're 1 plus something else, right? And here we're in the second half. So this is qualified. So operand list count is greater than 1, right? Cool. We add this in. We said, okay, cool. This passes in here. Now, if the result text box.length is greater than 1, it's not. So there it goes to here and adds it in. Okay? Replaces. Okay, so that's the first one. That's the first button we press, right? Okay, now we go through again, right? And we go through again. So we check again. Is the operand list count greater than 0? Yes, it is. Is this greater than 1? No, it's not. Replace. No, that means it's always good. That means no. That is always going to be the case. If it's greater than equal to, that means it goes. Okay, so it's 1. So if the text is 1, it's going to plus equal, right?
Like when we just click the any operator, then the text block length is 1.
Text dot length is always 1. That's why this won't work. I wanted to see what you were thinking, but I like how you're trying to formulate a solution. You want to kind of plus equals, but it's not this. We want to hit this else case. That's what you want to do, right? That's what you want to do. So we want to make sure that this only happens 1 time. Operand list count happens only 1 time. Okay, that's what we want to do, and we want to do it by testing something in the operand. I know you're going to write it down now, right? Which is the right thing to do, actually. It's good to write down the solution and try and figure it out, right? We're just doing it here on the fly, which is not a good solution. All right. So let's go back to the way we had it just for a second. This is the original way we had it, right? And what we want to do is up in here, we want to test to see whether the operand, we're back in here again, second time, right? It's almost like we want to count how many times we put in a character, right? So we've come in here the first time, we replaced, and it's almost like we want to clear the result. I want to clear, whenever I press plus, I want to clear it. I want to clear the not just the operand list count, but I want to clear the result and put 0 and start from 0 again, start from scratch, right? That's what I want to do, right? So it's almost like I'm doing something twice. I'm clearing the list for the first time. If the operand list is greater than 0, I'm clearing the list, right? And I'm adding another one, right? But I'm only going to do this 1 time, this clear of list stuff, right? So we can do a couple ways. Cheats. Here's the cheat way of doing it. I could put another carrier here that tracks if we're in the second operand, right? And then whenever I press the equals button, I can clear it, or the clear button would clear it as well, right? For example, you know, second button, I can call it something like private. This is a cheat way of doing it. We'll make it so that it is a Boolean, right? And we'll say is operand 2. Is operand 2. Okay, so right now it's false, right? And if it's operand 2, we'll set it to true. And if it's true again, if it comes back, hear me out, right? If it comes back, then we get a problem. Let's try this out. Now, what I mean is, back in here, if operand list.count is greater than 0, and this is my hack, okay? Operand is operand 2. I'm going to go directly for this one because I'm going to take this out later on. So I'm not going to redo the parameters and all that stuff unless this is going to work. If this operand 2 is true, right? So far it starts off as false, right? And we'll say as long as it's equal to false, right? Then we're good. We never did an operand 2 before. This is the first and only time we're getting in here, right? Then this is good. Else it's going to go here. And if this is the first time in here, we'll say this dot is operand 2 is equal to true. We're going to, don't worry guys, we're going to rename this in a second. And we're going to make sure that it's a property, not a instance variable. That makes sense? And then when we clear, just to be clear, right? When we clear this part, we also set it to false. This dot underscore is operand 2 is equal to false, right? We clear it here, and we also clear it when we do the equal sign, when we do the show. And we're showing when to clear it, because if we do it again, it'll mess it up, right? So show result, we do it again. This is why it's a hack. Okay. Try that. So what we want to say is something like this. Now, if it works, we're going to go back and we're going to change to a property. So here's the hack. 7 plus 88, right, is equal to 95. Okay, let's try the bigger numbers, right? 90 plus 50 equals 140. Okay? And let's try them chained. This is where we get into trouble, guys, right? 80 plus 80 plus 60. Right? What happened? Let's try this again. 80 plus 80, or plus 50 is 130, plus 50 more. That should be 180, but look what happens. Right? So it's not in the right place. We didn't clear it again. We've already done it, calculated it. We should clear it again another time, because now it's a stuff. Every operator is where it has to be done. Okay, cool. So now let's go back. And it's not here that it should be done in, right? It shouldn't be done here in the equal sign. It should be done over here. Whenever we do that, we have to clear the, when we do the calculation, we add them together, we clear it, and we put this, set this result to false, this operator 2, right? And that would be the one we want to do. We clear it at the beginning and clear it afterwards. Okay, now let's try it again. Craziness, right? But this is the crap, man. This is the stuff. When we program, you know, you have to be very clear. Okay, so 80 plus 80 plus 80. It's good, right? Okay, let's try bigger numbers. 980 plus 120, right? Plus 300.
Now just like click on 3 without clicking on C.
3? Like by itself? Why is it doing that? It's multiplying by 2, right? Let's try that again. Look, I didn't even do anything to make that happen. Watch. So 2 and then equals. Whoa.
The last operator is plus.
Well, there's a couple things that are problems, right? One is the clear, right, did not clear the result. The clear did not clear the result. So that's another thing we have to do. We're going to fix that operand too. This dot results is equal to 0, right? Let's try that again. So if I do, but you see where I'm going? We're very close to having a pretty good calculator, right? It's just that, see, now it's not doing it anymore, right? It's not, it's cleared, right? So 2 plus equals. This is how it should work. When it does it naturally, right? Until we get to the point where it starts to break, right? Make sense? And we can do the same thing if we take a negative number. So we've said 9 minus equals, and that doesn't work. Okay, let's say 9 minus 6 equals, and the minus doesn't work. On the way down, it doesn't work, right? But that's how it should work, right? How about this? If I go dot equals, that's pretty cool. That totally is how it should work. What dot should be 0, right? Dot 3, right? Look at dot 3 is equal to, that's wrong, right? But you see that there's more crap that we have to figure out here. We have to do more troubleshooting. And this comes down to what we talked about before, which is these are all cases, right? And when you do an application, even the simplest application like a calculator, you have these test cases. And someone's going to test all the possibilities, every type of user input, to see if we can break the calculator. By the way, there's many other options here. We have so many options, and we haven't even got to multiply and divide yet, right? How about square root? How about if it was some other kind of weird functionality, like 1 over x, or x to the 2? You know, those kind of other functions, or memory plus or memory minus, and all that kind of stuff. Well, let's just fix what we have. I think this is enough for today. I think you guys got the gist of the calculator. We've got a lot more done than the other class. This can't be. This has got to be is operand 2, right? We're going to keep this because that works. It's a hack, but it's okay. But this can't be like this. We can't leave it like this, right? Can't leave it like this. We're going to make our own little thing. And what I mean is operand 2 clicked. Let's rename this thing to make it proper. So we'll rename is operand 2 clicked, or maybe we say does operand 2 exist, something like that, or is it operand 2? Actually, you know what? It's a hack. It's okay. Hacks are hacks. Let's go back down here and then let's go into this. Now, when I say a hack, I mean there's a better way to do it. We just can't think of it right now. But we're going to leave it in, and then we'll take it out after. I'm not going to do it now because we have no time, but there's another way of doing this. All right, so what I want to do is I want to create a Boolean, which is called, which we're going to just rename is operand 2, right? Does it exist? Basically, is what we're checking, right? And here we're just going to set up our getter and setter just like normal, right? And then we'll add it into the final results. Oops. I hate when that happens. And then this is just going to be return this dot underscore is operand 2. And this is going to be this dot is operand 2 is equal to value. Just like normal. So there's our property. And now we're going to change these ones appropriately, right? So all I'm doing is I'm changing them back. So this is just going to be the capital. I'm going to do it by hand because if I try and search and replace, that could really mess me up. Either way, it'll keep working. Okay? This is the great thing about this. Even if you mess up and you leave it as is, it's still going to work. Right? All right, so what do? We refactored, like we did here, refactor calculator button click for the second operand. That didn't work. This one, we fixed the bug. Fix bug in calculator button click event. Right? That's what we did with 1.2, because that's really what it was. It was a bug we detected. There's more bugs. There's more bugs. All right. One thing I'm really happy about is that we got this done in this class. The first class was just not happening. I don't know. Maybe I didn't think properly. I wrote myself into a black hole or whatever. But one thing to note is there's more than one way to do this. And I want to leave you with this one for today, right? There's more than one way to do the same operations, right? I'm using it a very complex way. And someone else might think of checking out, or like I said, evaluating. Maybe you'd make another method called evaluate, right? And what it would do is I would keep track of all my operands, right? That's what I would keep track of, all my operands and my operators in one big string. I talked about this, right? And then I take that whole big string, I evaluate it, right? And then I come up with the answer, right? That's much easier than what I'm doing, right? What I'm doing is I'm actually parsing as I go. One big string, I can just do it, and the calculation is done when I click on the equal sign, right? Or whenever I press the, I'm going to call it an operator. I press the operator, whatever I had in there, whatever my history was, I keep track of my history as a string. Whatever my history is, once I press the plus button, right, it calculates. And then it replaces whatever's in there with the final result. Okay? Is it perfect right now, my calculator? No, it is not perfect at this point. By no means. So your job for tomorrow, all right, because we did plus and minus, I want you to do the backspace. So how does backspace work, right? How does backspace work? Let's take a look at our reference. I'm going to give you some hints, right? So I have a number like 98, and I do backspace, then 8 goes away. All right, so that's string manipulation, right? Going back, taking away the stuff, and replacing the result text box with the new string, right? It actually doesn't matter what's in there. For example, if I have 9 and I press backspace, that's a different case. That goes back to 0. So if there was something that I typed in there and I press backspace, it goes back to 0, right? And what about if I push the dot in there? So if I said, so it's 0, I press the dot and I press backspace, it goes to 0. All right? So that's something. And then, of course, when we do backspace and we press the dot again, it would work, right? We've disabled the dot. If it's already in there, we'd have to reset it so that the dot is decimal, right? Is set back to false, right? Because we've just deleted it. So that's another thing we have to think about doing. So that's the backspace, right? Backspace looks easy, but we have to work. There's some work to be done on the backspace, right? That's that one. And then there's this one. I want to do multiplication. That's the easiest one. 8 times 6 is equal to 48. That's easy. It'll evaluate nicely, right? But this is where we get into trouble. 9 divided by 0, right, equals to, cannot divide by 0. And that's what you should put in there. Cannot divide by 0, right? Because that's the error. Now, look, can I do other calculations? When I start typing this, what happens, right? Actually, it allows me to do a brand new calculation, right? So think about modeling it after what we see here in the calculator. We're using the Windows calculator here, guys and girls, as a model, as a reference. We're building an exact copy of it, and that's where we're getting our learnings. I would, for now, don't worry about this one. Don't worry about the plus equals. Okay, that's not really that important. If you want to get it done, you can get it done for yourselves to see how it's done. But really, all you're doing with plus equals is you're taking the result, adding a minus to the front of it, and putting it back to the result text box, right? Okay? And then, if it's already got a minus, take it out when it comes back. That's what you're doing with that one, right? And that's how you're changing. You're changing the sign to whatever. Now, the other way to do it is to multiply, convert it into a double, multiply it by -1 and put it back, right? That's the easiest way to do it, okay? So that's the other way of doing this. So that's what's due tomorrow night at midnight, okay? So you have to do 2. I'm only asking for 2, the multiply and the divide. I don't care. Oh, sorry, 3. Multiply, divide, and the backspace. If you want to do the plus minus, it's up to you. This is for your practice. What's going to be on the exam? I'm going to talk to you on Tuesday, I mean. Remember that it'll cover everything that we did after Professor Narendra left, right? So anything that after we covered is going to be game, but I'll talk to you more in detail on Tuesday about what the exam is going to include. Any questions? Guys, I'll see you on Tuesday next week. All right, take care.